There's where I left the components for Mordenkainen's magical watchdog. Oh, hello, I'm Miranda. Steamforge Games reached out to me a while back to see if I would offer some coverage of their new Kickstarter for the Iron Kingdom's Strangelight Workshop RPG. So this video is to review what all I believe is to be in the Kickstarter and give my initial thoughts. Now, the Strangelight Workshop technically has been around in the Iron Kingdom's world since the beginning, but really no one knew about it in depth until the book Wicked Ways came out back in 2017. Wicked Ways is an anthology of Grimkin-related stories that led up to the events of the Longest Night prior to the Infernals coming to Cain. And if you're curious to check that out, I have a link to the book in the video description below. Now, the Strangelight Workshop itself is an in-world franchise who specializes in the study, capture, or otherwise managing creatures of Urkane, which is the underworld. So it's, kind of vaguely like Ghostbusters. Now, there's not just like the spirits of the dead in Urkane, but there's also other magical creatures that were sent there a long time ago by the god Menoth, and that's a whole long story, but they can occasionally sneak over into the world of Cain, the living world, and wreak havoc. So the Strangelight Workshop, their specialty is to deal with that. And each employee of a Strangelight Workshop has to fill different roles. We have the investigator, who is usually the leader of the group. They figure out clues and make the plans, usually determining what missions folks are going to take. The bouncer is the brawn of the group. He or she protects the group from physical threats, like criminals and particularly cantankerous doors. The caller has special abilities to communicate with specters and try to convince them to cross over to the other side. The jammer, who is the brawn of the spirit world, described as literally being able to punch ghosts. The jammer protects the caller. And finally, the mechanic, who builds, invents, and maintains equipment. Pretty handy to have someone who can rig up a trap or fix the inner workings of Strangelight equipment. And it looks like the Kickstarter is adding a new consultant class, the Arcanist, which you might remember if you used to play the old 2d6 system. It seems like it's going to be a take on the Wizard class, and I'm not entirely sure how that is going to fit into Strangelight stuff, but I can't imagine it hurts to have a spell slinger around. The Iron Kingdom's RPG uses the D&D 5th edition rule set, so if you're already familiar with that, this should be pretty easy to jump into. And Steamforge Games also says that you do not need the Iron Kingdom's Requiem book to play this. The Kickstarter will come with at least 5 miniatures representing the major classes. None of the miniatures were sent to me, so I can't really speak to their quality, but here are the renders for each model. Now, Steamforge Games does have a lot of experience with miniature making, so I do expect these models will be decent. Based on the example story I was sent, it seems like this is going to lean a lot into investigative and exploration missions, with combat generally occurring if you run into a ghost or otherworldly entity. You can have a more combat-oriented experience if you like, and fight gangsters or warehouse thugs, or you could maybe avoid combat altogether by having really good negotiation skills, getting the ghost across to the other side, and avoiding combat altogether. Just remember, if someone asks if you're a god, say yes. The Kickstarter says it comes with a core book, so that's going to be your main rule set, a Spectronomicon with nightmares trapped in its pages, which is the Monsternomicon, award-winning campaign setting, so that should be your beginning campaign, characterful minis, which we just looked at, intriguing case files, so those seem like different missions, peculiar and interesting classes and ancestries, so maybe some expansion on those base 5 classes, unique character essence system, I have no idea what that is supposed to mean, chill-inducing haunt mechanics, I really want to see what that manifests into, creature-busting spells, so that's going to be your spell list, inventive and unpredictable gear. The Iron Kingdom's RPG has been around for over 20 years, so there is a lot of artwork to pull from and really help render the world. I think this RPG will be fun for those who are interested in a more quirky role-playing experience, especially those who enjoy, say, like non-combat encounters. Getting to invent cool new mechanica while telling stories that help you solve a murder mystery with the help of a ghost, or befriend a Grimkin who later betrays you. because they always will, or even discovering an infernal cult. I think there's going to be a lot in here to keep you busy. Personally, I really love the Grimkin. They won my heart as a new limited faction when they came out years ago, and truly I look forward to seeing what's in their bestiary. Anyway, those are my first impressions. I'll be checking out the Kickstarter to see what new stuff gets revealed as the launch goes on, but the Kickstarter goes live July 25th, 2024, and I do have a link to that in the video description below if you want to check it out. Finally, because I really enjoy your feedback, I have some important questions for you. 1, do you ever play the Iron Kingdoms RPG, either the original D20 system, the 2D6 system, or the current D&D 5th edition system? What do you think of the Strangelight Workshop? And most importantly, what is your favorite Grimkin? See you next time.